Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to coming to our Gen AI and You series, No Code and Real Impact. What we're going to do today is share some of the tips that I've been using in my product management role at the Home Depot in order to use generative AI in my day-to-day workflow. Today, our session is entitled Prompt Like a Pro, the Art and Science of Prompt Engineering. We are recording this session for those who aren't able to make it, so just be aware of that. So the first slide we want to talk about is the key takeaways that we want from you today is what prompt engineering is and why it matters. And even though it says engineering, this isn't about coding. This is about just developing prompts in a way that's structured. Second, we're going to give real life demonstrations of Google Gemini AI Studio. You could also use Copilot, follow along if you wanted to. And then we're also going to show you some practical examples that you could apply right away in your day-to-day work. And then the first question comes out, why prompt engineering matters? Now, the reason for this is if you ask somebody the question, what is 2 plus 2? Obviously, the answer they're going to give you is 4, right? You type that into a calculator, and if you're like me working in business, you're going to expect the answer 4. But what happens is when you're working with generative AI, the answer isn't deterministic, meaning you're going to get the same answer every time. It's probabilistic. That means that you're going to get an answer that is probably correct based on the context. So if you ask the question, what is 2 plus 2? You may get the answer 4 to Gen AI, or you may get the answer 22 or 2 and 2 put together. In fact, in Gen AI, you might even get the answer that this is a simple math equation that's used by first graders in order to learn how to add. Or you may say that this was just in the local news. Someone said, he doesn't know what 2 plus 2 is. We can't trust them. So how do we take all of those possible responses and get them to what we want? Well, we do that through prompt engineering. It improves not only the quality of what we get out of generative AI, but it improves the reliability. What this allows us to do in our business and our work is really to enhance the user experiences by providing tailored responses that are consistent, and it increases our efficiency. So to make a prompt, the most important things are first, you have to be clear. You have to tell it the context, like we just gave in our example. We have to give it a structure, the tone, the length, and the goal. What is the desired output or action? Are we looking for a table, email copy, or something going forward? So there's 3 types of prompting techniques. We're going to go through each of these today. The first prompting technique we're going to talk about is instruction-based prompting. This is very straightforward, where we use that structure. We ask AI to explicitly do something, steer it towards a task, format, or style. Another way we can do it is give few-shot prompting. We can say, as a person or role, what we want to do is answer this question, but here's a couple of examples for you that can guide you and help you and that'll help guide the model on choosing the right output for you. And then the last thing you can do is chain of thought prompting. And this is the type of prompting that encourages the AI to slow down in how it's working, it generate intermediate steps, and then provide a final answer. So what we're going to do today is first we're going to start with Google Gemini. Now, Google Gemini is GPT, is like Chat GPT or any of the AI tools that are available today. Now, there's a couple different types of models. So if you look in Google, Gemini, there's Flash, Deep Research. Now, the deep research is really a good example of what we're talking about when it comes to the different types of prompts. The ones that we were talking about where it was like chain of thought or chain of reasoning. So to give you an example, we're going to today just focus on creating customer service responses for Airbnb. Now, the first thing we want to do is do some research into Airbnb. So we'd say, I work in customer service at at Airbnb. I need to create customer responses to customers and we'll actually call them guests because that's what they're called, guests and hosts for problems. Can you research what my competitors do and where I can improve? So what we're going to do, what Google Gemini Advanced does, it's going to go through and put together a research plan. So this is the chain of thought or the chain of reasoning. First, it's going to identify our competitors, search our official help centers and support pages of our competitors and our official site. It's going to explore sections for both guests and hosts. It's going to identify the most common issues, go through that, and it's going to create a full report for us. And now this is going to take about 5 or 10 minutes to generate because of the amount of information that's going to be put into it. So we'll just click Start Research. By doing that, we have Gemini is rocking and rolling. So we'll come back. So now we're going to go back, create a new chat, and we're going to use the Gemini Flash model. Now the Flash model is good for everyday tasks. So let's say if we needed to craft an email to a customer who complained about something. So we would say craft an email for a customer complaint response. Now this is pretty broad. Now when we hit enter, Gemini doesn't really know what to do. It's got a couple of options that are just standard. Should we replace it, refund it, partial discount? So it's probably not going to be very helpful to you at this point. But what we could say now is, I work at Airbnb. Can you research, can you find the top 10 complaints and how hosts handle them? So now what's going to happen, it's going to go through really quickly. Types things are cleanliness issues, how do hosts address them, cleaning inaccurate listing descriptions, they counter that. Maybe poor communications or check-ins, somebody wasn't able to get in. Broken or missing amenities, they might send off and have somebody change that. So what's happening here is now, based on these guest complaints, what I can do is have it craft an email using the Airbnb tone to respond to the top 3 guest complaints. Now, if this was your company that you were starting to create this customer service response for, you would already have samples or examples that are approved templates with your branding, and you could just upload those right here. And then you could bring those into Gemini, and then it'll automatically help you create your email template. These style. So here's one for addressing a cleanliness complaint. Here's one to responding to a listing inaccuracy and then following up on an issue. So they even tell you like what's going on, why they used a friendly and conversation tone, how they showed empathy, action oriented. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy these 3 and I'm going to switch over to Google AI Studio. Now, Google AI Studio allows you to interact with Google Gemini and the other models in a little bit more detailed way. So the first thing that you notice is we have system instructions. So here, what we can do is create prompts where the responses always follow this structured output. So first, we're going to tell it as a customer service rep. So we want them to respond using the appropriate templates based on the request. So I'm going to now paste in those templates. Now I'm going to say, please always state that the customer is always right. Always. So we're going to make sure that happens. Also, create an email version. Also create a small chat version. Chat version. Also create a version for the host. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my Gemini, and I'm going to say, what if something had lack of essential kitchen supplies? And let's say this was my complaint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to call this my Airbnb prompt, Airbnb customer service. We're going to save that. And now I can go, excuse me. We pick this up again. See. Now when we paste this in here, we're going to run this. It's going to generate an email version, the chat version, and the host version. So the email version to the guest, your stay at listing, hey, thank you so much to hear that your kitchen wasn't as equipped as expected. We shared your feedback with the host. They're taking it seriously. They're committing to ensure to make things right. We're offering you whatever. Then we have a chat version, one that you could just post into a chat, obviously, because you need it to be smaller. And then for the host, we have a version there. So now we could also say, always offer a 10% off booking coupon for next 90 days. So now let's pick out another one, and you'll see that it automatically does that. Let's say some safety concerns. We'll drop that into our Airbnb customer service chat. We'll run it, and away you go. So now you can see it should have added into here. So now you can see it didn't actually add in the 10% off booking code in the next 90 days. So this is where you're going to have to start to experiment with the prompt and try to get it to do what you want before you implement this. Now let's take a quick look at some of the starter apps. And this is going to give you a good idea of what we can do in the prompt gallery. Let's just take a quick look at the marketing AI version. So here, what they've done is created examples. So we have two examples of sneakers and a bicycle, and the target marketing description. Now, when you upload your own image, like here they uploaded a basketball, if we run this, it's going to automatically create the output. So you can see now it gives us three options, one focusing on performance, training, or something just a little more direct or a little more trendy. You can see that they use the Gemini 1.5 Flash model in this example. One thing to note is a token about equates to a word, and you can see that you have to pay for input and output tokens. So this is important. Another thing you're able to control is called the temperature. And this really is how creative the responses are going to be. So if we move this all the way up to 2, it's going to give us more creative responses. So let's look. So now you can see that it's changing the options that come, the different options. So now option 3 is game ready, premium quality, superior performance, right? But if we change it to a different model, let's say if we use Pro Flash, or let's even use like the flashlight, which is flashlight or flash. which is, you can see the different prices, 10 cents in, 40 cents out. Use flashlight, it's, 30 cents out in. If we rerun this, you can see how we get an output that's just a little bit smaller. Feel the difference. So what you can do is experiment with different models, different types of temperature to get proper uh, the proper mix of what you need in order to generate the information that would be valuable to you in your day-to-day work. So this is a couple of different ways that you can use generative AI in order to create marketing emails, customer service responses, and create even marketing content based on images that your creative department has set up. Now, if we go back once again to the Microsoft, now we can use Microsoft Copilot. For the example of the Airbnb customer service, uh, it's amazing how many people right now are just using the technology that I showed you to run prototypes and their customer service center. They aren't spending months and months with engineers building things out, building out processes. They're really just using some prompt engineering, creating some examples, using a few shot and going from there. But now that we have that and we want to build that out, what we need to do is create, if you work in business, create a Jira story or an epic around this. So first, what we need to do is we can go to Copilot and say, create a Jira template for me. So it'll create the Jira template. And if you're familiar with software development, you know what this is. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a prompt now. We're going to say using this template. Here we go. What we want to do is, excuse me one second, we want to attach some files that I have in my downloads about the Airbnb solution, which are here. Oh, excuse me. Just want to add one right here. Open. And what I want to say is create an epic for the MVP solution using few shot prompting AI assisted customer service. And from the specifications that our customers have given us right here, something that would have taken you a good 20, 30, 40 minutes to create. Look at everything you need is right here. Your user stories, first AI resolution development, human in the loop integration, performance scalability. And then you can just ask it to break down into the user stories, and you break down the user stories into tasks and estimate the effort for each using Fibonacci sequence. All right. So it'll just take a minute. It's going to go through here. It's going to break down each of those. And instead of just giving me 3 items, now I'm going to get multiple items on each of these. I need to set up the AI infrastructure, integrate the AI with customer service workflows, which would mean getting it into on the person's desktop, launch the pilot in one test. First, we'd have to have the workflow, train the customer service on the human in the loop process, and then we need to monitor it. So really quickly, we can build out probably within a few days, we can just build out this process, test it, get real-time feedback, and start making a real difference in not only what the work that our customer service reps are doing, but standardizing it, and then making that impactful not only for the hosts, but also for the guests. So to wrap up, Oh, we went through a couple of different things. We went through the prompting, how we could use structured prompting in your day-to-day work. How you can use multi-shot prompting in order to create quick MVPs, marketing content, customer service emails, and then how you can use Copilot to create user stories for Jira and whatever workflow management you have. Now, the last thing we want to do is we wanted to our go back to our customer response. Oh, it switched out. So what looks like when I flip back and start running some other things. Oh, wait. No, here it is. Sorry. This is my Airbnb customer service improvement. So what it did is it created a whole document about the Airbnb, compared us with VRBO, Booking.com, Expedia, Marriott, Plum Guide, Vacasa. So they gave us common guest inquiries. So all this information is just readily available to you free of charge. And you can really jumpstart not only your research, really narrowing down your objectives and what you want to get out of your business value. Yeah, so once again, thank you everyone. That wraps up our presentation today. And thank you for coming to our Gen AI and You series. I'll make the deck available afterwards. I have links to Google Gemini Studio and the corresponding ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and Perplexity platforms.